Once upon a time in the sleepy village of Quirkshire, there lived a rather peculiar group of neighbours known as the Eccentric Eight. Each member of this group had their own unique quirk that made them stand out in the community. First, there was Professor Puddlefoot, a retired scientist who had a knack for inventing gadgets that were more likely to explode than work properly. His latest creation, a self-peeling banana, had gained him both admiration and a few bruises. Next door lived Madame Mimsy, a fortune-teller with a penchant for predicting the most bizarre events. Her predictions often involved encounters with flying pigs, spontaneous dance-offs between squirrels and chipmunks, and once, she swore, she foresaw a conversation between two clouds about the weather. Then there was Captain Quibble, a retired pirate who spent his days searching for buried treasure in his backyard garden, convinced that his pet parrot, Percy, could lead him to untold riches. So far, all he had unearthed were a few rusty coins and a rubber duck wearing an eye patch. Across the street lived Miss Petunia, an elderly lady with an extensive collection of talking plants. She claimed her roses whispered poetry, her sunflowers sang lullabies, and her Venus flytrap, Vincent, critiqued her cooking skills with a sharp bite. Next to Miss Petunia's charming cottage was Mr. Wobblebottom, an aspiring tightrope walker who practiced his balancing act on the village's cobblestone fences. His performances were a source of great amusement for the Eccentric Eight, who often placed bets on whether he would make it across without toppling into Mrs. Puddlefoot's pond. Living on the outskirts of Quirkshire was the mysterious Ms. Mystique, an enigmatic artist who painted landscapes using only vegetables and fruit juices. Her latest masterpiece, Sunset over Broccoli Mountain, was the talk of the town, though opinions varied on whether it was a masterpiece or just a really weird salad. In the heart of Quirkshire stood the town hall, where Mayor Bumbleberry, a former circus clown turned politician, presided over the village's eccentricities with a mix of exasperation and fondness. He often found himself mediating disputes between Professor Puddlefoot's exploding contraptions and Madame Mims's outlandish predictions. One fateful day, the Eccentric Eight decided to host a village fair to showcase their talents and quirks. The fairgrounds buzzed with excitement as villagers from neighbouring towns gathered to witness the spectacle of Quirkshire's eccentricities. Professor Puddlefoot unveiled his latest invention, a toaster that toasted smiley faces onto bread but occasionally shot confetti instead of toast. Madame Mimsy set up a fortune-telling booth where she predicted that Captain Quibble would find his buried treasure beneath a giant carrot in his garden, much to the delight of Percy the parrot. Meanwhile, Miss Petunia's talking plants recited Shakespearean sonnets to enchanted audiences, and Mr. Wobblebottom performed his tightrope act across a clothesline strung between two apple trees. Miss Mystique's vegetable paintings drew both admiration and confusion, with some visitors mistaking her celery skyscrapers for abstract art. As the day wore on, Mayor Bumbleberry presided over a pie-eating contest featuring pies made from Miss Petunia's singing sunflowers, much to Vincent the Venus flytrap's dismay. Laughter filled the air as villagers sampled Captain Quibble's pirate punch, a concoction that turned everyone's tongues blue but was surprisingly tasty. By the end of the day, the village fair had become a celebration of Quirkshire's eccentric charm. The Eccentric Eight basked in the laughter and camaraderie of their neighbours, knowing that their quirks and talents had brought joy to the entire village, and so, Quirkshire continued to be a place where being a little bit odd was celebrated, where everyday life was infused with whimsy and laughter, and where the Eccentric Eight reminded everyone that it's okay to embrace the quirks that make each person unique.